So, you've got this dream, right? To build your own rocket. It's this amazing challenge. But there's always that one nagging question. After all that work, is this thing actually going to fly? Or is it just going to turn into a really, really expensive firework? Well, let's talk about the tool that lets you figure that out before you even pick up a single screwdriver.
All right, so here's what we're going to cover. We'll kick things off with the big problem that every rocket builder faces. Then we'll dive into how you can basically build a digital rocket and predict its flight. We'll also look at who's actually using this thing, from classrooms to big-time competitions. And finally, we'll wrap up with what makes open rockets such a total game changer.
Okay, first things first, the rocketry challenge. I'm talking about that one fundamental hurdle that every single person who wants to build a rocket has to face.
And it all boils down to this, right? How do you actually know your design is going to work, that it's stable? How can you be sure it'll hit the altitude you're aiming for instead of, just tumbling out of the sky? The old school way is just trial and error. And let me tell you, that gets risky, it takes forever, and it can get really expensive fast.
But imagine this. What if you had a virtual launch pad? A safe space where you could test your designs over and over again, for free. Well, that's exactly what OpenRocket is all about.
So what is this thing really? Simply put, OpenRocket is a totally free, open-source piece of software. It lets you design, build, and simulate your own model rockets right on your computer. And because it's open source, there's a huge community of people constantly making it even better. And its whole purpose is just brilliant. It's designed to show you exactly how your rocket is going to behave before you spend a dime or an hour building it. This means you can spot any design flaws, tweak the performance, and make sure it's going to be a safe flight. It saves you so much time and money, it's not even funny.
All right, so let's get into the fun part. The first big feature is actually building your digital rocket. Seriously, think of this as your own personal workshop, right on your screen. And the level of detail you get is just wow. You're not just picking from some boring presets. No, you can add and completely customize every single essential part of a real rocket. We're talking the nose cone, the body tube, the fins for stability, the motor mount, even the parachute for the recovery system.
And this is where you really see the power you have. You control every single detail. Want to see how making the body tube a little longer affects stability? Go for it. Curious what happens if you switch to a different material for the fins? You can literally adjust the length, the diameter, the thickness, you name it, all with just a couple of clicks.
Okay, so once your digital rocket is all built out, this is where the magic happens. Welcome to your virtual test range. It's a place where you can launch your creation again and again and again with absolutely zero risk.
Now this isn't just some cutesy little animation, oh no. OpenRocket gives you a pro-level flight analysis. It calculates everything. I'm talking projected altitude and speed, total flight time, and the big one, the rocket's stability value. It even factors in things like wind and weight distribution and tells you the perfect moment to deploy the parachute for a soft landing.
And get this is the really important part. This is not a video game. The software runs on what's called a 6-degree of freedom flight simulation engine. And that sounds super technical, but it's the same level of complex physics that professional aerospace engineers use. The bottom line? The results you get are incredibly close to what would happen on a real launch pad. That's why so many people trust this thing.
So you might be wondering, who's actually using a powerful tool like this? Well, it turns out its impact is huge. We're seeing it everywhere, from high school classrooms all the way to high-stakes international competitions.
You can almost see a clear path for people who use it. A lot of times, it starts in a STEM class at school. It's an amazing learning tool. Then it becomes absolutely essential for hobbyists trying to perfect their designs. And before you know it, it's the secret weapon for teams winning major competitions like Technofest and Tubitalk. It really does support you at every single level.
All right, let's bring it all together. What's the real advantage of using OpenRocket? What makes it win?
I mean, just look at the difference here. The old way, trial and error, it's risky, it's expensive, and it takes forever. OpenRocket just flips that whole idea on its head. It's safe, it's free, and you get instant feedback when you make a change. It is just a much, much smarter way to build rockets.
So, to sum it all up, the key advantages are pretty obvious, right? It's completely free and super easy to get started with. You get to see a rocket in a full 3D model. It gives you these super detailed flight graphs that break everything down. The physics are realistic, so you get predictions you can actually trust. And maybe best of all, you can make adjustments to design in seconds, not hours.
Look, with a tool this powerful and this easy to get your hands on, the barrier to getting into rocketry is lower than it's ever been. You basically get a complete design and test lab for free right on your desktop. So really the only question left is, your launch is waiting. What are you going to build first?